From the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, where you'll find all my columns, daily Bible verses, and absolutely no elite hypocrisy, let's take another look back at the stories that made up the week that was. And by the way, to have my insights beamed directly to your email inbox twice a day, always totally free, just sign up for the newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. As the massive trucker protest continues in Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, still in hiding, tweeting this little gem. He said, and I quote, "Today in the House, members of Parliament unanimously condemn the anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-black racism, homophobia, and transphobia that we've seen on display in Ottawa over the past number of days. Together, let's keep working to make Canada more inclusive," end quote. Now that's some desperation right there, throwing every worn-out ism at his critics, accusing them of being frothing Klansmen, all because they object to onerous COVID restrictions, as well as to mandates that have been destroying their livelihoods. These protests are also enjoying broad public support, so he had to try to throw the entire kitchen sink, heck, even some of the pipes under the sink, at his opposition. And by the way, if you actually take a look at some of the photos of the truckers and protesters, you'll see that many of them are in fact Sikh immigrants from India. The only way Trudeau is making Canada more inclusive is by bringing so many people together to support the truckers and to reject his empty woke nonsense. The good news is that while Trudeau obviously fails to get the message, others can sense which way the wind is blowing, and it's blowing away from government seizing more power and trampling on people's rights with destructive health emergency measures that aren't even helping. The Premier of Saskatchewan wrote a letter of support for the truckers and set a target date of this month to end vaccination requirements, saying they're no longer reducing the transmissions of the Omicron variant. And Quebec's Premier, surprised by the huge public backlash, dropped his plans to tax the unvaccinated. And it's not just in Canada. Freedom is breaking out all over as public backlash has grown against harsh COVID restrictions that have done very little, sometimes nothing, to actually reduce COVID deaths. Watching Trudeau spew all those empty isms and seeing that they no longer intimidate people into silence is one of the best pieces of news that Western civilization has seen in years. If for no other reason than that, those Canadian truckers have earned a big salute from everyone who cares about freedom of thought and speech, or limited government and the rights of the individual. Let's hope this moment is the last gasp of mindless, unscientific COVID compliance theater by our hypocritical elites. And speaking of those hypocritical elites, let's check in with one of them, Eric Garcetti, mayor of Los Angeles, who was caught maskless this week at a football game, defying, of course, his own mask mandate. Why? Well, he was taking pictures with some famous friends. Here's his excuse.
I'm used to criticism as a public figure. I've been wearing the mask the entire game long. People want a picture, I hold my breath. Zero risk.
Oh man, why didn't we think of this before? Just hold your breath. I wonder if I can get away with that on a plane. I mean, I'll just tell the flight attendants, I don't need to wear a mask. I'm holding my breath. Yes, the whole 3-hour flight. Next up, the most trusted name in news network. Well, it's taken the hits. This week, global president, Poobah of operations or whatever, Jeff Zucker, abruptly resigned at CNN, admitting to a romantic relationship with a subordinate. That subordinate is currently an executive vice president and chief marketing officer. But there's more to it than that. You don't resign from a position Zucker is in if there isn't a lot more. How's this for starters? Zucker's paramour, Alison Gollust, is the former communications director for former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Yeah, the same Cuomo who had to resign in disgrace last year, and whose brother Chris Cuomo was also employed by the most trusted name in news until he was forced to resign for not disclosing that he was abusing his position as a wannabe journalist to help his politician brother. Conflicts of interest, compromising the integrity of your reporting? Yeah, for starters. Rolling Stone reports that Zucker resigned before he could be fired, and he's not poised to receive any severance. We don't know what else is about to come out, but whatever it is, it ain't gonna be pretty. That you can trust. And as the Olympics start in Beijing, here's Nancy Pelosi's message to the U.S. athletes.
You're there to compete. Do not risk incurring the anger of the Chinese government because they are ruthless. I know there is a temptation on the part of some to speak out while they are there. I respect that, but I also worry about what the Chinese government might do.
I'm deeply grateful that Nancy Pelosi actually admitted the ruthlessness of the Chinese Communist Party government. That's a good start, Nancy. Maybe she could explain to us why we continue to do all this nonsense with China. Nothing wrong with that. But shouldn't this have been more of a discussion before we sent anyone over there in the first place? Why is America legitimizing this evil communist regime? The current #1 New York Times bestseller can explain that. It's called Red-Handed: How American Elites Get Rich Helping China Win. That's a book by Peter Schweitzer. He's going to be on my TBN show next week. I promise you don't want to miss that. But that's going to do it from now. So until next time, these have been the facts of the matter. Now, if you're seeing this, I know you've enjoyed that video. I mean, how could you not, after all? So you know what you should do? Leave a like, click on the subscribe button below, and hit the notification bell next to it so you'll always know when I have another video up for you to enjoy.